The master category part of the show is when we get to talk about the tokens we drew the week before, which give us our categories. We pick our topics based on those categories, and that's how you get the best information we've ever been able to give you.
Ever.
Yeah. We're not great at finding information, so that doesn't speak to the value of information, just that it's the best we can find. We're not good at seeking it out. But with that being said, Patrick, why don't you wait until the end, because you have something we can all talk about.
Fine.
You start, Andrew.
Oh, okay. I'll start. So I got art and design. If you go back and listen to the last week's episode, you'll find that that's true. So like I said earlier in the around the category portion, I had a really great mail day this week that I didn't even know was coming because my wife, what?
You said around the category portion.
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
I don't know I don't know. The only way to know for sure is to check for sure. But I got a really great mail day that I didn't know was coming because Chandra, my wife, bought something for me, and it showed up and just out of nowhere. So I'm going to show you, and then I'll tell everybody what it is. I got the Art of OOO, which is the art book for Adventure Time. And if you look, it is a hefty book.
It is a big book.
It is not a small deal. This is going to be pretty short. It's going to be a pretty short review. If you don't like Adventure Time, you won't like this book.
That makes sense.
If you do like Adventure Time, this book will be so much fun for you. So it tells you the entire story of how Adventure Time came to be. It's not just a book about the art. It's essentially a chronicling, an archiving of the entire project. And the show is in its final season right now. It's just now finishing up its series run. But if you look, I mean, I'm going to try to show this, as well as I can. It's beautiful. Like, it's laid out so well that it's so rich in content.
Sure.
And in design and history. And what I love about it, if you've been listening to the show for more than 60 seconds, you know that I'm a huge fan of Guillermo del Toro.
Yep.
I kind of feel like I'm his unofficial spokesman, at least for the podcast. The introduction to this book was written by Guillermo del Toro. And so to see that he's a present day hero of mine, to see that he is as invested in this as I am is awesome. Because he's obviously well trusted and well loved in the film community. Just won Best Director, Golden Globe, and the Oscar. And so he wrote the introduction for this book. It's so much fun. If you like Adventure Time at all, you will get something out of this book. If you like history, not like world history. If you like world history, you won't like this very much. But if you like to read process, this thing seriously, it's an A to Z of anything you could ever want to know. This is the encyclopedia essentially of Adventure Time. Shows you its origin and talks about why and what and all of the weird fun in between. It's really, really good. So I don't know how much it was because I didn't buy it.
Yeah.
It retails for $35, so that's not bad, especially for what you're getting. I mean, I think that essentially just covers printing cost.
Yeah.
Because this is a really weighty, hefty book. It's got the great spot varnish on the front of it, if you can see.
On the letters.
With Jake and Finn on the front. Yeah, gosh, that's all.
Where does the OOO come from? What is the Art of OOO? Is that
OOO is their world.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, that's all. If you are an Adventure Time lover, pick up this book. If you have a spouse, drop major hints that you want it, and who knows, it may show up on your doorstep and you just didn't know.
Great point.
Here, you want to know the scary thing about this though?
What?
So this will timestamp this episode a little bit. I live in San Antonio. And specifically, I live in the suburb of San Antonio. The city is called Schertz.
Yeah.
And if you know, Schertz, Texas, made national news this week because there was the FedEx bomber. And that all happened the day this came in the mail. And so I didn't know this was coming.
Right.
Right. And so I didn't know that this was going to be, that I had a package coming. All this, like that whole day, it was.
A bomb literally went off at your FedEx facility in shirts.
When I was going to get coffee, I drove
literally
past.
A bomb went off there.
Yes, a bomb went off there, injuring the worker there, destroying lots of stuff, and several other bombs went off in Austin with the weeks leading up to that. People have died. Like it was a big thing.
Yeah.
And so to get a couple of boxes in the mail, one of which you didn't know was coming on that exact day, was a little unnerving.
Scary.
But,
yeah.
I'm just imagining you with like a skiing pole, like at a distance, digging it out of the mailbox, and then
you're not far off from the, like, I opened the deal and saw it and kind of stepped back and was trying to, like, I used my flashlight to read if it was addressed to me or not before I reached my hand in to grab it. Yeah, I mean, it's better safe than sorry, right?
No, that's
absolutely.
But I didn't find a bomb. I found an incredibly well-produced book that I will cherish.
A bomb book.
Okay.
Mark it.
That's it for mine. Luke, take us into Toy Town.
Okay, the Toy Town. I'm going to talk about Game Town. So I talked about a couple games that I had gotten recently, and I'm going to talk about one of them because I got a chance to play it, and it's awesome. I'm talking about Wasteland Express delivery service by Pandasaurus Games. First of all, the art of this game is insane. It's like
they should make a book about the art of that game.
I agree. It is like it feels like slightly cell shaded, but really like I don't know. My terminology is all off. This is Andrew's world, not mine. Like sketchy style line work. Like it's very kind of loose. It's really good, but the whole game is it's territory control, or you just go around and you gather resources, and the whole thing is to gain victory points by taking cargo across this wasteland, and it's kind of like Mad Max style. And like there are
the cover looks like Fury Road.
Yeah, I mean it's very much inspired by the latest installment of Mad Max. This game, so this is how thick the box is, and it comes with instructions on how to put everything away. Like that looks just like Small World. There's so many components to this game. It is
And when
unreal.
you say this is how thick the box is, it's almost the size of like 2 bricks stacked on top of each other.
Yeah,
I don't know why I thought of bricks. There's probably better measurement.
It's easily 4.5 inches deep, the box. For a board game, that's a ton. But there's all of these tokens that come in a case. There's markers.
That's probably why the cost is what it is.
Yeah, it's not a very cheap game.
Yeah.
More
but
components.
The packaging is very well done.
It's very well done, and you have all your pieces there, all of these little you gather food and water and weepons, and then
that cover fell off right now.
I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it.
So that's the awesome part about it. So it has like little grooves where it clicks in, so it won't do that.
Oh, you're playing with fire.
No, I'm not, because it's designed very well.
My butthole puckered a little bit just
So the cool part,
it's like the one time the Dairy Queen person turns the Blizzard over. And
no,
it just
everybody's seen the video of the guy with the unbreakable cell phone screen where they had the hammer at the trade show, and he hits it with a hammer and just shatters it.
Yeah.
It's the best. So there are 6 different players that you can have, and all of them come with their own little mini truck. I'm trying to show you guys, and then I'll show everybody else.
Yeah. It's a very well done mini.
Yeah, it's super detailed for how small it is. It's not wanting to focus.
Looks like an APC on steroids.
I believe you. See it, Luke.
Well, I'm trying to show everybody else.
Oh, you're showing the other camera right now. Okay, all right.
No, that's us. You're for sure showing us.
Yeah, I'm showing you now. You see it?
Yeah.
It's gray. It has 2 cannons.
Yeah, so it's plastic.
It's small.
It's all different kinds of semi-truck trailers, and there's one that looks like straight up Optimus Prime. Like there's no like hiding it. It's just a complete ripoff. Anyway, the game is super good. You, I know, it's fine. It's fine. You go across this area, and it's made the map is made up of these 12 hexes. So you put these all around the table into a square, and then in the diagonal points. Let me try and get this out because it's easier to show, and I'll try and explain it while I show you. There's so many pieces.
You put squares in to complete the transaction.
Yeah.
Good.
Good.
I was gonna say, my mouth. There's not a situation where my mouth does that shape.
So,
it's like Catan. It's like setting up
like
a
Catan,
Catan.
it's like
but
a huge
instead-
Catan board, yeah. So
But then you
put
fill
the
in those gaps with little squares.
Yeah. So in the middle there is where you put like depots and little cities and stuff.
That
where
connect them.
Yeah, and that's where you go to get. So there's like the depot, and
Those are decently sized pieces too.
Yeah. So it all plays out. I mean, the board size is actually pretty big once you have it all put together with all the components spread around and everything.
Googling it.
But you go in and you drive around, and you have different abilities. And it's another cool thing about this game is the way that you track all of your actions that you can do in the game. So you have your I'm just making sure you can see it on both of these. You have your truck representation here, and you have all your spaces for ammo and cargo and all this stuff. And then up here, you have a shield. So if you get a shield later in the game, you can have a little bit more ammo. But you have tokens that start here, and you can use all these different actions per round. And the way it works is you have 5 actions that you can do. And you do one at a time. So you do one, then the next player does theirs, and then it comes back to you until you can't do any more actions. But you can go up and you can move, and then after you move, you can either use combat, or you can deliver something, or purchase something, or go to an outpost. When you move, it's a cool idea. There's like a 3, 4, 5. If you want to go farther, you can't take any other action after you drive. And it's the idea that as you're building momentum, like in the sands and in the desert in this area, your car goes farther. So it's
makes sense.
It's cool. It's like one of those like little things that just kind of immerses you into the world a little bit more. But the game has a lot of depth, a lot of different things you can do. Also, there are these NPC factions, kind of like, essentially just like in Mad Max, these factions that will try and, ravage you and take over things. And you can send them after your opponents, but at the same time, they can send them after you on their turns. And so all of this works together to a really... It's fairly complex. It's way more daunting to set up and to learn than it is to actually play. Once you learn how to play, it's a really fun game. But to get in and start playing it, you're probably looking at about 3 hours to get your first game in. And then after that, it's 90 to 120 minutes.
Can you provoke a ravaging?
You
like
can.
If you want to be ravaged, is that an option?
Well, so you go into an area where one of the factions are, and you can do a check to try and see if you provoke them. Now you can't really choose to. It's still a roll, but
but there are ways to put yourself in their way.
Exactly. You can purposefully get in their
stack
area.
The odds against yourself.
Yeah. And those do certain things, because if you kill them, you can steal things from them that they have. So
how much is this game? This game speaks to me.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of tiny pieces.
Yeah.
It
awesome.
seems fun. It seems fun just to set up and tear down. Probably I'd have as much fun doing that as actually playing it. But how much does this game cost? Because this does not look cheap.
It's actually not bad. It's not as much as you would probably think. It's $60 on Amazon. So at your local store, probably 75 maybe. But yeah, 60 on Amazon.
It retails for 65.
Yeah. It's totally worth it. You can
actually buy this at Walmart.
I've seen it. I saw it at Target, I think. I haven't seen it at Walmart yet. But yeah, it's super good and it's a great game. And the art style is really fun. The style it's not for kids though. Like the art is No.
It's moderately graphic in
absolutely. Nature. And it's violent. I mean, it's a violent, it's set, that theme. If you've seen Mad Max or heard of anything Mad Max, it's not a very, it's
And how many
visceral.
people can play it?
Up to 5 players.
Okay. As little as 2?
2. Yep. There actually might be a solo. No, it's 2 to 5. I thought there was a solo. That was another game. Yeah, it's super good. So, Patrick, take us home.
Tomb Raider. That's what I just saw. Mm-hmm. That's the one that came out. Are you going to
bring that with you, by the way?
Yeah. I don't know. It's a big box.
Okay. Don't worry about it.
So Tomb Raider is a film I saw this week. First, let me take a second to say some great trailers came out this week. The new Deadpool 2 trailer actually got me excited for the film. First one was a big disappointment. The latest one's great. The new trailer for Ready Player One is beautiful. If that just doesn't get you pumped to just see that film. And then also some great shows coming out. Barry comes out. Well, actually, the day we're recording, it's coming out tomorrow. But by the time this episode comes out, Barry will be out on HBO. And then
Barry is who again?
It's oh gosh, I'm gonna look it up just because.
Wilmer Valderrama.
Nope. It's what
a weird
Bill Hader. I can never remember Bill Hader's name, and I always think of him as the police officer in Great.
Always, huh? Always.
Yeah, man.
Always.
What is the film? Someone.
I don't know.
With McLovin. He's the police officer.
Oh, Superbad.
That's how I always
forgot he was
Bill
in
Hader.
That.
I hate that movie, so I have zeros.
It's a really bad movie.
I think that movie is so stupid.
Anyway, Bill Hader. So Barry's coming out. It's going to be a great film. And then there's Unsane. That movie comes out. The whole movie was shot on a iPhone 7 using a $30 camera, like a $30 lens attached.
Like Tangerine.
Tangerine was actually shot on a 5S.
Well, yeah, but the same idea.
Same idea. And so the whole thing was shot on iPhone 7, and it looks beautiful. Watch the preview for it. It's a horror film, though. And so you do have, I don't know how intentional it was, the coloring looks really good. Like the picture quality looks good. You do have kind of this slight bending to a lot of the wide shots. And I don't know if that's something from the phone or if it's a choice for the lenses they used. At the same time, because of the style film, it revolves around a psych ward and things like that. It totally fits in the style. So anyway, the point is
at our draft house. So I should maybe go try to check that out.
I'll literally go see it just for the way it was shot. So anyway, a lot of really cool things coming out.
I won't because it's a horror film.
Great. But last week, there were a lot of things that hadn't come out yet, which led me to see Tomb Raider. And this one was rough for me. So the movie has one of my favorite actors, Walton Goggins. If you don't know who Walton Goggins is from the show Justified, that's how I initially was introduced to him. He was Boyd Crowder, who's like the main bad guy in Justified. But Walton Goggins, he does a great job playing bad guys. He was also in Death Cure for Maze Runner, the latest one. He also ended up playing a guy of questionable morality. And so anyway, but he's incredible. So he's still totally captivating. And then the casting for Lara Croft, which is Alicia Vikander. Mm-hmm. I thought she was a great Lara Croft. Yep, I think her personality, I like how scrappy she was. And it felt like a really great, it came off as very, very human, and not like superhero. Like it definitely felt like just a smart, in shape person, And I really liked her as Lara Croft. Now that being said, the vehicle that both these people were in, it just felt pretty paint by numbers. I mean, it was pretty easy to guess when things were going to happen. It's very easy to understand what's going to come next. I mean, we're able to kind of guess the key to the sequel, and I managed to guess the last line of the film and things like that, just because it's just a rehash of something that you see every single summer through one or another. So again, Walton Goggins is still captivating because he's amazing and is able to do that. And I love the casting for Laura, but the film was a bit frustrating in how plain it was. Now, a comment was made by who I went and saw the film with that I think was a very good comment. And that's that if this film had a bit more levity, I mean, there were times I found myself laughing that I shouldn't have been laughing. If they had been a bit more intentional in not trying to be a parody and not trying to be some Guardians or something like that, but thinking of something like
Ragnarok.
Oh man, I'm sorry. What'd you say?
Thor?
Did you say Fraggle Rock?
Thor Ragnarok.
No, I don't think Fraggle Rock is the right style at all.
Cool. Yep.
If this film had 20% more dozers in it, I'd be like,
no, if this had felt more like Indiana Jones, like that level of levity, which it's kind of an easy comparison because of the similarities.
Feel like it did have that level of levity, though.
I don't feel like it was intentional. I
do.
I didn't feel like it did personally, and maybe it's that the quips just didn't hit me, like they didn't tickle my fancy, and they did yours. I'm not sure. To me, it missed me. Now, the one person I think was a miscast, the one person I think did not fit was Daniel Wu. He played Lu Ren in the film, and he ends up initially kind of being the guide, and then he's kind of loosely connected the rest of the film, although they did kind of leave him sitting out there for like 45 minutes looking down a scope. He somehow came across as the least Asian, completely Asian person I think I've seen in a movie, because given the scenario in which we discover him, like the setting and his history and stuff like that, he kind of talks like a lazy Californian a little bit. Like the dialogue is dialogue, or not just Californian, like American. The dialogue is dialogue I would use. And so it really just felt like it underserved his character. And on top of that, his accent was bizarre to me. I just didn't, it felt really weird to me. So I don't know why. Take that for what it is.
I would say he played the least drunk alcoholic that I've ever seen.
It's true too. I just think maybe the alcohol really messed with his accent and vocabulary.
Well,
it's possible.
I think if you look at it as the guise of this is a video game movie and not a film, like it gets a lot of passes. Like I feel like
I agree with that.
It didn't matter to me. It was super entertaining. Like, I loved it. Like
I walked away. I think we're probably on a spectrum here. I think it's it probably goes Patrick the least. I'm probably somewhere in the middle, and then Luke is probably the most. But
probably.
I looked at it through the lens of, was there stuff that was predictable? Absolutely. I knew the last line of the film. I leaned over to Chris. As soon as we saw the gun rack, I leaned over to Chris and I went...
And there's only one.
Yeah. I leaned over and I just went, we'll take two. And... so that was like, but that was fun for me. Like I was like, okay, because I know Tomb Raider, I know Lara Croft.
Yeah.
I know that, like I played those games. And so these certain beats that need to come in order for it to feel authentic. I felt like this was a better take on the series than Angelina Jolie's version.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that.
So I think what Luke said about it getting some passes, I agree. It gets some passes. I think the acting was great. For what it was, I thought it was upper echelon for what it was. Now, you're not comparing that to the same acting chops in like 3 billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri, or like a Shape of Water. But for what it was in the lane that it was in, I thought that it was like top level for that.
But it would do these weird things where you would get this like really focused shot on an object, and the camera would hang a little bit too long enough for you to feel like, oh, we're gonna get a call back to that, and then it would never come back. And that happened a couple of times. The line when she got pinned in the beginning of the movie, and she called it getting does anybody remember the word she used? The phrase?
No.
I totally expected that phrase to come back later. Also, the thing that struck me is that Laura failed at everything. Like she lost the boxing match, she lost the fox race, she got the boat crashed, she fell in the river, she didn't make it across the tree, the plane wing fell, then the whole fuselage fell, then her parachute broke, then the guy caught her.
But that's Tomb Raider. That's how Tomb Raider plays. Tomb Raider plays. It just consistently gets worse and worse for her. That's how the game plays. She was just
a loser for the 60 or 70% of the movie. Was just her losing, and the other thing too. It was a little weird. Like I felt like we had a lot of time kind of doing establishing that wasn't terribly necessary because these are so familiar to us. And then it felt like we were suddenly jumped into the cave sequence. Like that part just felt super rushed. And so there was just some balance issues with the timing of things. There was some time wasted doing flashbacks to scenes that happened earlier in the film that we didn't need because we just saw it 30 minutes ago. Like I still remember it. So yeah. I just felt like the editing and the pacing was just slightly off for me. So I love the two main characters. I do love. I love the personality that she brought. I love what the reveal is at the end. Like I love the way all that was handled. I really love the environment that's set up. I'm totally good with all of it. I actually think it didn't feel too much like a video game, which is what I enjoy. Yeah. There were only like 2 moments that I was like, oh, well, this is obviously going to be in the next one. It actually felt more like a movie to me than a video game, which I appreciate. Just
so what's your rating on it?
I mean, it's just mediocre.
What's your rating? Your number.
At a 10, it's hard to do better than a 4 or a 5. Here's the thing. Even giving it that number, I would not discourage anyone from seeing it. If you think you want to see it, it is absolutely good enough to warrant going and seeing. Okay? This isn't something I would tell you to avoid the theater. I agree with you, too, that there were parts I enjoyed, and I was connected to the film the whole time. Like, I didn't...
Even genre, even if you parse it into the genre, you're still going to give it a 4 or 5?
It's one of the best video game movies made.
Right. That's what. Yeah.
But the thing is, the situation they end up in the end felt so forced to get there.
See, I think
there were so many outs the whole film to avoid that situation. I think
you are still stuck trying to make it a movie and not a video game movie because it follows very, very closely the kind of things, like Andrew said, that happen in the game, in the story of Tomb Raider. And it
just wasn't compelling enough for me.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It wasn't compelling enough for me the way it unfolded for like she's this like genius when it comes to puzzle solving and making some really stupid decisions all along the way to force this really bad final scenario. It's hard for me to like feel that.
You also well, never mind. I'll say this off camera.
Just say it now.
No, because it's gonna rabbit trail and it's not necessary. But I think for me, I probably, given that this is parsing it out into its appropriate genre, I would give it probably an 8. For that reason alone, it is very entertaining. That has great action. It has great acting. I would agree with you. Some of the missteps in it are with either the pacing and the editing or some of the writing.
Sure.
That
I blame the writing and editing for 85% of what I don't like.
But yeah, I would. I'm not going to own this. It's not going to be on my shelf. But I would probably watch it on Netflix again. You know. It's I'd give it an 8.
I'd definitely give it an 8. I would maybe give it a 9 just because Nick Frost was amazing in it as Max, the pawn store owner. Like he was.
He was fun.
That was such a good.
I would rather watch Pawn Stars with him be the star.
No, you wouldn't. Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I talked a little bit about it in our Slack channel, and I don't really want to get into it. If you like Tomb Raider, I think you'll like it a lot more.
I was just waiting for the jump in the pool scene off of the pillar.
Right. Yeah. That was like the one thing that was missing.
Maybe that'll be in the editor's cut.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Go ahead.
Okay.
What we're doing.
Well, that's it then. Yeah.
Bizzle.
We did it. That's it for this master category section, which means that's it for this episode. You can find it on mof1podcast.com, where you can find show notes and links to everything going on. Did your video just cut out?
Yes.
Cool.
Cool.
Literally just now.
If you are watching this on YouTube, you can click all the links right below us. But you can find all this information and follow along. Buy some of this stuff. Go watch. Go listen. Go whatever it is that we talked about. Go do those things because it's that's what we're here for. We're here to help continue the pop culture scene one episode at a time.
I assume that you'll replace my picture with a picture of Nick Frost.
Nope.
Yeah.
It'll be your Patrick no video.
No, Luke, do a picture of Jack Frost. And if you want to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/move1podcast, throw a couple dollars into that bucket, and it will help us out so much. It will help continue to do what we do. We have some stuff coming up. Next week, we will be in Baton Rouge, Louisiana for Crop. It's going to be so much fun. The lineup is incredible. Matt Dawson, who is our guest this week, we're doing a replay episode with that. He's so cool. He's just the coolest, chill, down to earth guy. And he puts on Crop, and he's a great event host. So come on out and see us and see some of what we have in store and get a beignet while you're out there. We will also be the following week at Creative South in Columbus, Georgia. That is going to be so much fun. We're hosting a workshop. We're actually kicking off the conference workshop
bright and early
that morning. Yeah, bright and early with podcasting, with dummies. It's going to be so much fun. It's limited, so you're going to want to get your tickets. Patrick, what do you want to tell everybody about that?
Yeah, you should be there. So the idea is that if you're looking to start a podcast, if you're looking to monetize an existing podcast, if you're trying to find new channels for growing audience or better connecting with guests, et cetera, these are all topics that are going to be discussed. In addition, we are going to be kind of tailoring the content to the people that are in the room. So we're purposely keeping it small because we want it to be very applicable to what you're doing. Yep. There'll also be some pretty exciting gifts or giveaways. Mm-hmm. So even in addition to the value of the knowledge you'll get, that's another opportunity. And beyond that, what I would say is for a lot of people, Creative South is, this could be the only event you go to for the entire year. So go ahead and do it upright. I mean, yes, it costs a little bit extra money over the normal ticket price, but what the value this has the potential to bring for the work that you're doing in our over the next few years and the way this can grow what you're doing, it's absolutely a drop in the bucket for the return you'll get. So do it up.
CreativeSouth.com.
Bring coffee. Holy cow.
Yeah. Maybe the giveaway would just be a cot with like 10 minutes of silence.
We'll let one person sleep in the corner for the whole time. That's a good giveaway.
I think that'd be awesome.
I'm going to rig that for me.
Man, what else? You can find all this stuff at mof1podcast.com, where you can find an archive full of incredible guests and conversations that we've had. Yep. Join the Slack channel. Go to mof1podcast.com/Slack and join the conversation in there. We're all over social media. Just search MF1 Podcast. like and subscribe and share and rate and review on all the different platforms. If you're watching this on YouTube or if you're listening to this on Spotify or iHeartRadio, comment, follow, like, and all those things. Share. That helps us so much. It doesn't cost you anything and takes very little time. So thank you if you are supporting the show, and if you're not, come on now, just help us out a little bit.
Yeah.
We need help.
We need help.
But I think that's going to be it for now, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're going to hop out of this one. I'm Andrew.
I'm Patrick.
And I'm Luke.
Peace out.
Frost.
Hold on to your butts.